Hola, it's Evie with Something Latina, and we are joined today with Alicia and Angelique, the founders of Santu, an incredible Mexican inspired beauty brand. We are so excited to talk to you ladies about your business and about wellness and self care and how important it is for Latinas. So, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Avi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, Santu Beauty is described as a ritual of love and legacy on your website. What was the emotional or personal moment that made you realize that this brand needed to exist?
Hmm. Well, we met 10 years ago in a little pueblo where we both live. And Angelique, an esthetician of 18 years, has very healing hands, and she was making product. And I am a water bath shower kind of gal.
Hmm.
And after many years of being her client, we thought that we needed to share this with a wider audience.
Yeah, and we also want to share the spiritual and the emotional side of a wellness brand, not just the physical part of it.
That's incredible. And you both you kind of briefly mentioned this, you come from different backgrounds. So, how did that shared belief in self care align into this cohesive vision that is Santu Beauty?
So Alicia can tell you about her side of the story, but I've been an esthetician for 18 years, like I mentioned before, and to me it was always clients, it was always family, and I came to a point when I met Alicia and we talked about this brand. I was just like, okay, now it's time to do that self-care rituals, but also teach others how to do it, you know, because we need that little bit of time for ourselves, and I want to share my knowledge with everybody else out there because I've been in the industry for so long. And then Alicia comes from a different background, but I
but,
mean,
but yeah, but the same similar sense in that I really believe that we're all imperfectly perfect, and the integration of our physical, our emotional, and our spiritual well-being is so important, and they're interdependent upon one another. And that's why we say we're rooted in love, because self-love, it starts with us, and it's a commodity that cannot run out. It's a wellspring, unlike any other commodity like money. So loving ourselves more, the more we can love ourselves, the more that we can do for others, and that we'll receive in kind. And then that giving expands, it's expansive.
yeah. It also one of our philosophies is that we are all self-care practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
Like how we take care of ourselves, we would want our children also to do that for themselves.
That's so like I love that you said that we're all perfectly imperfect because I feel especially with like beauty and wellness brands, like when you think of like a beauty brand, you think of like the perfect model, like fully made up, like not a blemish, like they don't have dry skin, no hyperpigmentation, none of that. So I think it's so incredible that your brand focuses on this idea of like self-love and rituals. And I think in our culture with Latinas, we're kind of taught to prioritize others and not necessarily ourselves, right? Like we're the caretakers, we're worried about other people, and it's reframed as like it's selfish to like want to put yourself first. So, how do you define like self care as something that's like not selfish or necessary? Like, how do you reframe that?
Well, I will tell you this. It's like when you get on a plane and they tell you before you put on your mask, well, put on your mask first before you help others. And that's the same that we are saying, like the more you take care of yourself, the more you can be there for others. And also like self-acceptance, like beauty is not just about how beautiful you look, it's how beautiful you feel too. But self-acceptance, you have to start there, because if you look in the mirror and there's something you like about what you're seeing, that's accepting who you are.
Amazing. So, in a saturated beauty market, what did you feel that was missing culturally or spiritually that Santu could bring forward?
Well, I don't know, honestly, of another beauty brand, and I'd like to think of us almost like we're a wellness brand that it celebrates the beauty within us. And I don't know of another one that really talks about the integration of the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual well-being. And I think that we look at Santu and the self-care practitioner part of the ritual. Like I use our products because they feel good, they smell good, they're good for you,
Mhm.
and they're also, I feel like that makes me a better person, that I can do more. And I think that's an important tenet, especially in today's world of distraction and disruption, frankly. And I can do more as a mother and as a friend and a sister and a neighbor and a community member if I am prioritizing myself first. And that's not selfish, that's actually healthy because I can do more.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm glad you mentioned that you're a wellness brand because one of the things I was going to ask you is how would you classify yourself, like as a wellness brand, as a beauty brand, or something else entirely? Because your company is kind of unlike anything I've ever seen before in the space.
Yeah, I would say it's a wellness brand, rooted in love, rooted in culture and heritage. We use so many local ingredients, and we work with local artisans, and um, that's how we celebrate the culture and how we celebrate the country of origin. Because we are proudly Mexican. Our salt scrubs is we use locally harvested sea salt that's coming from the local lagoons where we're living. And the family that does this, they use a tradition, or they use a method that has been part of Mexican culture for about 2,000 years. And they are one of the few families that still does it the traditional way. And that's how we honor the culture, the origin, and the country.
Yeah, we are one of the few. There are only 2% of all beauty brands in North America are Latino owned. And we are one of the few
Mhm.
in North America that are Latino owned, but celebrating the country of origin of Mexican tradition and self care rituals. And really through and through, because as Angelique said, we source in Mexico, we manufacture in Mexico, our creative team is in Mexico, down to the models on our website. And we built our business 2 years before we launched product, and have been very intentional. That was something that was a non-negotiable for us. And we're really proud of our
Yeah.
country, of this country and where we live and the traditions that we've come from.
That's incredible. So why was it so important to you to make that like conscientious decision? Like we want to have like our team in Mexico. We want to only work with like local artisans in Mexico. Like why was that something that was so important for you?
Mm.
I think, well, both of us, we met in a small little town, a little pueblo in on the south of Mexico. So Alicia lived there half of the time, and I've been in Mexico for about 15 years. And about 10 years ago, in that little pueblo was where we met. And I think it's just so authentic. Like we we want to, like, our artisans come from the region, like the ingredients that we use, we can see how these ingredients next sorry, i'm I'm jumping the gun here, but I'm just really excited to share all of this. So I have a spa in the little town that we met, and next to the spa we have a garden where we grow some of our ingredients. And it's just so interesting to see how these ingredients, like even pineapple, we were so surprised to see like how this little pineapple it grows. And it's so surprising how long it takes,
3 years.
3 years to grow. And that's how we appreciate every little detail so much more. And we want to take this forward in next generations, so that like the next generation can learn how to appreciate these little things, like how to cultivate, how to use these traditions. Like how did you say earlier about the you mentioned something about
Well, I
the
think I think we were talking about we talked. Well, we were spending some time talking about um, the ancestral wisdom that
Yeah.
gets passed down. And Mexico is, like many countries, really, really rich. My great grandmother was a curandera. So she was a healer of physical, emotional, and spiritual health. And those, she was using copal, our hero ingredient in everything that we make. And copal is a Mexican tree resin that dates back to thousands of years. They use it in ceremony for grounding. And then they also, now we know in modern wellness, it's used for as an anti-inflammatory and an antibacterial. But those recipes, what I said, that's that my great grandmother was using, a lot of times those will only get passed down. It's like the artisans. It's why it's so important for us to support local artisans and local economies, that the old ways of doing things are sometimes the best ways of doing things and shouldn't be, pushed aside. And there's so many layers of our culture that are included in all facets of life, um, that we are really proud of them, and they still work. And there's still, there are constantly plants that we're learning about, and we're always looking for new ingredients and new things to share that do different things, that this is what people depend upon for wellness, whether it be physical or if it's an emotional or whatnot. So I think that connection also with nature is something that that's why I'm also really proud that we're so clean, that our products are 94% clean, and that we make a giant effort to touch the earth lightly with sustainable packaging, and Leaping Bunny certified, and also with our community, that we're part of the Pledge 1% community, which pledges 1% of our equity towards causes that are bigger than ourselves.
That's incredible. And I love that you are like using those old traditions and the culture and really keeping it alive, because it's so important. I think a lot of times, just with like modern times in general, people are always thinking like, oh, what's a new way to do things? And like trying to like do things for efficiency or like to change things. And it's like, no, like sometimes these traditions lasted for thousands of years for a reason. And
Yeah.
so I think it's so important that you really just are making that effort to preserve that culture and are so proud of it. And you should be, because it's something that's truly so special to see, especially like for us, like seeing a Latina owned beauty brand that's so proudly Latina and like rooted in those cultures and traditions. It's just such a cool, like beautiful thing to see. And you are both Latina founders. So I'd ask you, what advice do you have, if any, for any potential founders who want to build brands that are also rooted in culture and purpose?
That's a great question, and she's laughing because I talk about this when I talk about to my kids too. It's not much different in that, be passionate about what you're doing, always go for the adventure,
Yeah.
stay true to who you are, stay in your lane, speak your truth, and that can be demonstrated in lots of different ways.
Yeah,
That's
I will just
right.
add something small to that, and always remember where you're coming from. Like, let that be always present, because the foundation that you were made of, that's the strongest.
That's incredible advice. Super. Like I'm taking notes too. I needed to hear that, so thank you.
Yeah.
Um, what do you hope someone feels, not just like physically, but also emotionally, after using Santu for the first time?
Mm.
So I will rephrase something that is very common in Mexico, is volver a recordar es vivir. Is like when you smell our products, we have two of them that's really scent forward. We have the Mexican lime with eucalyptus and rosemary. We have coconut, vanilla, and coffee. The one that's a little bit more milder is the tropical jasmine with pineapple and mango. So we want, like, everybody that smells this, we want them to be transported. Like, all of the fragrances kind of takes you to a tropical paradise, but it could be different for everybody. Like, we've had so many people experience this, and we've heard the comments. It's like, oh, this reminds me of the paleta that I had that when I was younger, or it was when I have café con leche con mi abuela. So it could be like that childhood memory that's awakening up in you, or it could be this tropical paradise where you want to be. So it's really that emotional connection that you make, or it's where you want to be.
I would say for me too, just, like yourself, like being a working, woman and trying to do a million things, I always have lotion with me in my purse and on my desk. And, I'm busy doing things and then I want to get grounded, take myself somewhere. And there's nothing better than like putting on the Lima Mexicana for me, for example, when I'm going crazy. And, and the actual soothing and rubbing of yourself, like touching yourself, it's like giving yourself a hug. And the smell takes me like just, it resets my moment. And I think that, part of being perfectly perfect is resetting the moment. And, if it's that would be like a winning kind of feeling for someone. It is for me.
Yeah.
I love that. You heard it here first, y'all. Like, you've got to try their products, get into that film, like connect with your roots, just take that time out for yourself, because we all deserve self-care, and it's so incredible to see a Latino owned brand really centering the culture and just wellness and the idea of taking care of oneself, and that we're exactly as we're meant to be. So thank you so much, Alicia,
You.
and
Thank
for your
Thank
you.
time.
you.
Santu Beauty. Make sure you check them out, and I can't wait to try your products.